Welcome to Medicus Video Podcast. My name is Varun. I hope you're all doing well. Childhood. The moment we think about childhood, we get a great smile on our face. Lots of memories, friends, maybe a lot of time for us to play. It's a mix and match of a lot of emotions. Predominantly, all of us actually go back and feel nostalgic in time when we think about our childhood. But that's not the case with everyone. Childhood is not the same for everyone. There are people who have had bad experiences in their childhood, who might have had traumatic scenes in their childhood. It may be because of the financial situations, or because of their physical situations, or because of the circumstances that they have around them. They probably do not have good memories about their childhood. We may probably have those good memories that are being carried forward into our current adulthood, and they may probably give some good vibes in our current adulthood, but that may not be the case for a lot of people. How are these childhood traumas traumatizing them in their adulthood, in their relations, as well as in their work life? Yes, let's discuss about it. So let's invite Mr. Amit Rastogi, our corporate psychologist, to discuss about how these childhood traumas are shaping up. Mr. Amit, thank you so much once again, sir, for accepting our invite and joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Varun. I'm great. Thank you so much again. And it is really nice that we will be talking about a new topic today. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
inviting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invite once again. Mr. Amit, we all know what is that we want to discuss today, which is how these childhood traumas are getting carried into their age, into their elderly ages, as well as how is it affecting their mental health, as well as how is it affecting their relationships, how is it affecting their work-life balance. I want to actually ask you a question, Mr. Amit, if you allow me to quote a case, because it has happened for someone that I know very well. So
Mm-hmm.
there is this person that I know. This is actually narrated by someone else, because when I was actually talking about this topic with few people, I was actually given this case study to discuss. So there is this person who has been an excellent student during the childhood, always first in the class, gem of a person, remembers everything, perfectionist in all the manners, and liked by the school teachers as well as class teachers during the study time. So this person, and of course, we all know, right? This is a competitive world. During our education time, we always want to be the best and we always want to be the top. Especially, I have seen this competitive edge among those toppers who fight between the second place and the first place. So that
Mm-hmm.
continued to happen. So what has happened now after that person grew up, that competitive nature, instead of be remaining in a positive manner, it turned out to be in a negative manner. That person was unable to take the failure. That person was unable to stand by any competition, due to which that person broke the relationship. That person was unable to have any friends. That person was unable to digest anything that is better than that person in any manner. So I actually thought, Mr. Amit, what is this childhood trauma? Do everyone have a different version of it?
Hmm. Uh, that's a big question, actually. Okay, so
Yes,
let
it
us break it
is.
down. Now, let us first understand what childhood trauma is in layman's language, right? Now, childhood trauma is something that refers to distressing and disturbing experiences during our early developmental ages. However, what really happens is that the child, it becomes overwhelming for the child to really cope uh, with that situation or multiple situations. I'll talk about it. Uh,
Sure.
and it leaves a long term imprint on the nervous system and the
Right.
emotional regulation. Okay.
right.
Now, when I say nervous system, now again that's a big term. Now, please understand that any trauma that the child has gone through, it doesn't only affect your mind, it
Okay,
affects your body. Okay, we will
right.
talk about it, of course. Uh,
Sure.
Now, the thing is that it is about how the nervous system has perceived that and internalized that particular event.
Oh,
And it is different for different people,
right.
right? Now, if you ask me that does everyone has some version of it, uh, based on my experience that I have seen with the cases that I have taken, yes, every single person I have spoken to, they had some version of the childhood trauma that was actually disturbing them, making them
Okay,
uncomfortable, or was actually coming out in their adulthood. And that is
right.
what we have been working on, right?
Okay,
Of course, I cannot say that yes, every single person has it, but many of them do have that.
okay,
Because
okay.
the thing is that uh, your childhood, my childhood, or any other person's childhood would be different. So we don't know what the environment was, what the
Correct,
situation was. It will be
correct,
different for different people. But
correct.
yes, there is some version which definitely stays with them, and because of which people get affected. Now there can be
Right,
different types of childhood trauma. Now it can be an emotional neglect by the parents, or lack of affection. It can be a verbal or a physical or a sexual abuse. It can be an abandonment in form of separation
right,
due to divorce, right? It can be growing up in a household with violence, with
right.
mental illness, maybe because for someone in the family, right? Then there's another important one, which is bullying.
Exactly.
Okay, now bullying, I have dealt with some of the cases, and in the adulthood also it is impacting them, right?
Oh,
It can be a severe accident, or it can be a war-like situation. There was a
yes.
person that I have dealt with, I've spoken to. So that person was in that war-like situation. Okay,
Okay,
and another one would be loss of your near or dear one in the
dear
early stage
ones.
of your life.
Yeah.
And there are many more, right? I'm just telling you
Good.
what are
Yes, sir.
some key childhood traumas, right?
Understood.
Now,
Understood.
in this, in our language, in our area, they are divided into big T's and the small T's.
Okay.
Okay, so of course, the big T's are the ones where it involves abuse or maybe a major loss, right? The smaller ones can be the emotional neglect, right? And being criticized or shamed. Now, please understand that being criticized or being shamed is something which accumulates over time. Okay, because when there is a child, you are criticizing the child for something, or comparing him or her with their sibling. Uh, it actually creates a lot of trauma with time, because it
Right.
accumulates. You are being compared to someone, you are being compared, and it is exactly the same thing what is happening in the corporate. I'm directly going to that corporate bit.
Exactly, sir.
uh, okay, now if you are being compared to someone in the corporate, it actually triggers what has happened
Hmm.
in the childhood,
Right,
right? And
right,
it really
right,
becomes difficult for them at that point in time, right?
right,
So I
right.
remember there was a case uh, that I was dealing with. I was speaking to that person, and she said that she was always compared with her own brother
Okay.
every time. So, of course, the results academically, and the social circle, everywhere she was being compared with her
Right.
elder brother. right? Now that created a lot of impact on her mind, and her overall self-worth, self-image deteriorated over time, and it really
Okay.
impacted her in the long run, right? Of
Okay.
course, however, having a few sessions, now she has moved out from that thought.
Okay.
And the important part is that if you become aware, it is a lot more easier for you to resolve this. It is a
Right.
lot more easier for you to change the patterns in your neurological pathways. And as
Right.
soon as you do that, you are able to change the external circumstances for you,
Right.
and
Right.
you can
Right.
definitely then you can start going.
Right, right. Thanks, Amit. I think you have actually given a clear understanding of the versions of the childhood trauma and some case studies as well. Now, how do different people react to these patterns, Amit? So, because everyone has their own version. Now, how do people react to these versions? Like one of them you have mentioned, where the comparison with her own brother has triggered
Hmm.
into her corporate life as well. So what other, triggers or patterns you have observed, Amit, and how have you dealt those corporates or those corporate employees?
Okay, okay. So now the thing is that again, uh, see, unhealed trauma, it doesn't clock out when you walk into the office. It remains with you.
Right,
You are not a different person. It is the same neurological pathways, it is the same nervous system that you are taking inside the office. It is a trauma which is there inside you.
yes,
Okay. Now, there can be people who are people pleasing and they are overworked. Why does it happen? Right? Now, sometimes what happens is that in your childhood, your parents are not emotionally available to you, and possibly they will only praise you when you do good work,
okay, okay.
when
So
you
you
score
you
well.
tend to continue to keep that pattern in your mind, like you continue to please anything you want from anyone. You go back to that pattern of yours where you continue to please anyone.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what happens is they associate performance to love. They
Hmm.
feel that if I do a good work, that is when I will be complimented, I
Hmm.
will be rewarded, and then they start overworking, or they
Okay.
become a people pleasers.
Right.
They will overextend themselves. They will struggle to say no,
Okay.
because that is what their definition is, that if I do well, that is how I will get the love.
Right, 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 right. Okay, okay, got it.
Okay.
Sir, when you encounter such kind of people, Amit, okay, so what is the healing, you probably would have done? Could you explain us, one case study where
Hmm.
you have, because this we are talking about over pleasing kind of a scenario, right? There can be cases where the boss anger, these people may not be able to take the anger or may not be able to live up to the expectations, and because
Hmm.
they get triggered, maybe their father during their childhood is always a number guy, so when the manager or the TL talks about the numbers, they get panicked and their performance
Hmm.
dips, right?
Okay.
Or they have a problem living with the same genders, or they have a problem someone touching and talking to them because they've had a bad this thing. So, can you tell us the healing process of how you have handled a person with this childhood trauma and improved their performance?
Okay. Uh, so you asked me a lot of things. I will still try to answer
Sure.
the key one. Now, say for example, you have a manager who speaks to you maybe rudely, or
Okay.
shouts at you, or yells at you. Okay, that should not be done, of course, but in some situation it happens,
It
right?
happens. Yeah.
Now, the thing is that the person uh, who is actually avoiding a conflict or a feedback, if that is the kind of person that the manager is yelling at, the person will possibly freeze.
Okay.
Okay, because for example, that particular person, and exactly there is a case that I am telling you,
Mm-hmm.
there was a person who who had mentioned that their parents used to fight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There was yelling at home. There was conflict at home, right?
Okay.
And because of which the pattern that she created was that conflict is equal to danger,
Right, right, right.
right? So if there is something which is happening in front of her, she used to avoid that conflict and she
Okay,
froze,
okay,
because that is the trauma that she's carrying from her childhood, that conflict means danger. If I get
okay,
into this, possibly it will hurt me further.
okay.
And that is why during some of the performance discussion, the reviews, it was difficult for her to take the feedback,
Or to defend herself. Yeah.
right? And she always avoided that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the case that you were asking, that how do you heal such situations? Now, see, it is very important to know, Varun, that all of these are related to your nervous system,
Right.
and you are actually creating patterns in your mind, knowingly, unknowingly. You don't even know, because if you remember, we were talking about the conscious and the subconscious mind. So there is a
Correct.
lot of information which is going in our subconscious mind also. And when you keep getting that information, you start creating patterns in your subconscious and your neurological pathways, right? So it is important for you to break these patterns. So
Hmm.
with the techniques that we have in psychotherapy, the techniques that we have in New Code NLP, we have the ability to break these patterns. And as soon
Okay.
as you break these patterns, you will be able to you are creating space to create new patterns which are going to be helpful for you. And if they
Okay.
are
Okay.
helpful for you, you will see that you are changing your behavior, you are changing your patterns, and you are changing the way you deal with a situation.
Right, right, right. Got it.
Okay.
Got it, sir.
So it
Yeah.
is about doing those techniques.
Right, right, sir. So, in conjunction to this, Amit, so let's say there is this person who probably suspects, they have this childhood trauma which is affecting their corporate life. What is that first step you ask them to do, or you probably will suggest them to do, Amit?
Sorry, I did not get. Are you talking about the trust issues?
No, no, no. I'm asking you a question, which is, if there is a person who's already having a childhood trauma, she realizes that she has a childhood trauma, that she is carrying it forward into her office,
Okay.
and
Okay.
she wants to, probably seek help. So, what is the first thing you would ask that person to do?
Okay. See, in all of this, in this scenario, it is important for you to first become aware, which you said
Hmm.
that she is already aware. That's the
Hmm.
first step. Okay. Now, if she is aware, it is important for any such person to reach out to someone where they know that if they share, of course, it will remain confidential. Like people like us, the psychologist or the practitioners doing therapy, of course, it is safe with us because whatever we discuss, it remains confidential, right?
Right.
So it is important for them to reach out to such kind of a person and try and understand that what is that can be done which will help them break these patterns. And as soon as they break, of course, there is a change that they can do.
Great. So I believe that is where we have this corporate wellness programs coming in, right, Amit? I think some companies are employing psychologists for these corporate wellnesses, and some
Yeah.
companies are bringing people from outside. And we are also conducting some workshops exclusively for corporate employees, right? So I
Yes.
believe this is where we can also help them break these patterns and come out of their childhood trauma.
Yes, absolutely. See, if we are talking about corporate wellness, Varun, it is important that the corporates, first of all, have to become aware that it is really required. Okay?
Yes.
And if they are able to help their employees I can tell you one thing, that they are not only helping the individuals, they are helping the organization, and they
Correct.
are actually also helping the generations of the employees that they are working.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
trauma sometimes, I'm sure you must have heard of the term of the generational trauma.
Right. Right.
Okay, now it is very important that if you can break that generational trauma, it doesn't go to your generations,
Right. Right.
because then that person will start behaving exactly in a similar way as that of his or her parents.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right.
so they are not only helping the person, but they are actually helping their generations, right?
That
So it
generation.
is
Yes, sir.
absolutely. So workplaces, they have to actually break the stigma of openly addressing the topics like trauma or emotional health and stress. It is
Yes,
important,
sir.
and they can actually offer some trauma informed programs like emotional
Yes.
regulation or somatic practices like breathwork and mindfulness and the inner child healing, so that the employees can get the benefit, and it also increases the overall productivity of the
Yes, sir.
organization. The
Correct.
leaders
Absolutely.
have to be really informed about it. That is what
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
feel.
And I would also call out all those employees also to take ownership and reach out to the workshops that are publicly available to psychologists like Amit. I'm sure a lot of you may have had a lot of childhood traumas, those who are watching. So comment in the comment box as to what kind of childhood traumas are good, and as well as the most commonly heard negative childhood traumas. Maybe it is for you. You can anonymously write your comments, or it can be from someone that you have heard. And probably you can also seek help from Amit on our website. You can see the website down. Amit, as you were talking about the responsibility of the employers to get help for their employees, I also want to ask you, because see, these people would have got their own partners. They may be married, or they may be still living with their parents, or whoever it is. So how do they handle these cases? Because when I know that someone who's carrying this childhood trauma from the childhood,
Hmm.
what is my responsibility as a person towards that person who's already a victim or suffering?
See, if you are aware that that person is carrying a trauma, uh, it is your duty to actually take him or her uh, to a person who will be able to help them uh,
Okay.
rel- relieve that. It is
Right.
important if you are aware, because see, trauma can actually affect your life tremendously, and in many of the cases, it is the relationships that get affected. Say, for
Yes.
example, there is a couple. Now, uh, the girl or the boy, we don't know. So, what happens is that if there is a childhood trauma that the person is suffering from, uh, there can be a misunderstanding, and it can really affect your own relationship with your partner. If
Okay.
you are not aware, you will not understand why this is happening. And
Right.
sometimes what happens is that uh, both the partners have got some background, some issue in the childhood, and they will behave the way they don't know how to actually behave in that situation, and it
Correct.
really becomes difficult for the other partner to understand that why are they behaving the way they are behaving.
Correct, sir.
If they
Correct.
become aware, it becomes a lot more easier. The whole
Easier.
dynamics
Exactly.
changes.
Sir, on this context, I want to ask you, sorry to interrupt you, because you kind of mentioned it. If they are aware of it, yes, obviously it's going to be a little easier for them. Now, can you list down the symptoms that a partner can catch in their, either it could be in a husband and wife scenario, or it can
Mm.
also be in the mother and a daughter or a son scenario, or it can be any sort of a person, even in a friend scenario, even for an employer scenario, like the TL. What are some
Mm.
common symptoms you have seen? For an example, that person doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't
Mm.
like to be, abused. I'm just giving you, I don't know, those examples that I know. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are those symptoms which a friend or someone should catch hold of a person who may be undergoing these childhood traumas?
Yeah, I got it. So, see, sometimes what happens is that there is a discussion which is happening, and the other partner freezes. There is no
Okay.
response.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the other partner will think that he or she is not interested.
Okay.
He or she is cold to this
Cold.
particular discussion.
Discussion.
Now, if it is happening multiple times, that means that there is something behind it.
Okay.
Okay. In one or two instances, you will not come to me. Right?
Okay.
But if it is happening multiple
Again and
times,
again. Yeah. Got it.
then you have to understand that possibly there is some underlying issue which is happening. Okay.
Right.
Then there can be people who are seeking constant assurance
Right.
from the partner.
Attention and assurance. Okay.
Right. Now, again, if it is happening again and again, it means that yes, possibly there is something which is bothering this person, and that is why he or she is seeking constant reassurance. Right.
Correct.
Sometimes what happens is that you are talking, however, you just walk away.
Right.
You don't want to talk about it. The person will feel that why can't we talk something real?
Right.
Okay. Now that means the person is avoiding any difficult conversation or any conflict, and that is why he or she is just going away, right?
Correct.
Or someone avoids intimacy.
Right.
Okay. The other partner will feel that will feel rejected.
Uninterested. Correct.
But there may be some other reason. There may be some other trauma
Correct,
because
sir.
of which that is happening.
Right.
Okay, these are some of these symptoms, and there are many. But in this, you really have to be a little more aware of the traumas that the person can go through.
Yes.
And of course, you can seek help. You can seek help.
Absolutely, Amit. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, these are very, very helpful actually. Amit, there are some questions I want to ask you, like a quick questions with some quick answers. One of them is, if you have to bust one myth about trauma, what is it?
So, some people say that if you don't remember, it doesn't affect you.
Okay.
If you don't remember, it doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect you. Okay, but that's not the case. Okay.
But that is not the case.
Okay.
Now, like I mentioned earlier, it is not affecting your mind only, it is also affecting your body.
Okay.
Okay? You may have forgotten about it, it's okay. But your body, your nervous system hasn't forgotten about it. And sometimes it uncovers after 20 years or 25 years. Because when that trigger happens in your adulthood is when you start observing that something is happening to me.
Okay. Got it, sir.
So we really don't know that how much time it will take.
It may take. Correct. I agree, sir. Right. So there is another question. So yeah, please. Sorry, I'll let you complete.
So that is what I was saying, that it is your nervous system. How it is responding. And one important point, Varun, is that every single person will respond to a situation differently. Okay? If you have a sibling, you and your sibling will react to a similar situation differently. Correct. Okay? Sir. Because if the person is highly sensitive, then possibly it will affect her or his nervous system. It may not affect you. It's okay. This is how you are built.
Correct.
So we don't know how it is going to affect your nervous system.
Exactly, sir. Got it. Thank you for that. And Amit, the next question is, if there is a book that you have to say that would have changed your view on psychology, what is that book?
Yeah, so there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score.
The body keeps the score. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is by Dr. Bessel von der Kolk.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the name of the book itself speaks a lot. So
Okay.
when we say the body keeps the score, it is exactly what I was actually telling you, that it is not only in your mind but also in your body.
Right, right. I can relate to it. Exactly. Got it, sir. Got it. Got it.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. So,
So
mhm.
it is a wonderful book, and if you get
Okay.
time, go through this, and
Absolutely. I've
it
noted
is
it
really
down. So let's
nice.
see if I can find it anywhere, Amit. I'm sure I can find it online somewhere. But Amit, thank you so much. I think these are some insightful information. So, ladies and gentlemen, childhood traumas not necessarily have to be good and pleasing, but it also can be unpleasantful and traumatizing for a lot of us. As Amit was just talking, we may think that we would have forgotten about it, or if we forget about it, the trauma doesn't exist, but that's not the case. It requires a pattern to be broken. And there is no stigma in reaching out to psychologists or to the persons that can help you, or even to discuss this with those non-medical professionals, like it can be your husband, your wife, or it can be your friend, to say that, I may probably be carrying this trauma into my relationship, into my office. So that is the first step, as Amit was suggesting, will be a curing factor for you, or for the relieving or the healing factor for you. So make sure that we all take, these summaries, take this information that we have discussed in this meeting, related to your real life experiences, and seek help and ensure that we live a quality life and a better life. Once again, thank you so much for joining in for today's podcast. Mr. Amit, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir, for once again accepting our invite. I'll meet you next time with another wonderful topic. Until then, namaste.
Thanks, Varun. Namaste, everyone.